Good morning, everyone, and a Freilich and Chanukah. We are continuing here in the laws of KASHRUS by Rabbi Yamin Forst. And we're speaking still about basa v'chalav, meat and milk. Kelim nifradim levasa lechalav, different vessels, different utensils for meat and for milk a person must have in their house. There's another addition that the Rishonim, the earlier commentaries add, that is a stringency in halachas of basa v'chalav. But it's not just a stringency, it's something that is halacha l'maisa. This is the way that a Jewish kitchen looks. Number one, they said, you're not allowed to cut a piece of cheese, even if it's cold, with a Fleishig knife. Not only that, you can't even cut bread, slice bread with a Fleishig knife. If you're planning to eat that bread with milk products or dairy products. So to the opposite, if you want to slice bread with a milchig knife and then serve it with your pastrami sandwich, that is a problem. Why? The reason is sometimes sometimes the shuman, the oils or the fat from either the milk that you cut or the cheese that you cut previously or the meat that you cut previously remains a residue on the knife, and now when you cut into the bread, it goes into the bread, and now when you end up eating that Fleishig, that bread that was cut with the Fleishig knife, if there's some of the shamnunas, if there's some of the residue of the fats or the oils on the bread, and now you spread your cream cheese on there, so you're having basa v'chalav, and therefore we are careful not to do these things. Now, if you have no other knife in the whole house, so there is one way that you could use this knife. Let's say you only have a Fleishig knife and you want to cut your bagels for your cream cheese and your lox. So what do? You take the knife, you stick it into the hard ground 10 times. You stick it in, you take it out, you stick it in, you take it out 10 times. What does that do? That will remove any residue of any shamnunis, any of the oils or the fats that are there on that knife. Of course, clean it off from the dirt, and then you can cut into your bagel if you want to. But of course it's easier if a person just has 2 sets of everything in their house, as we're going to see. And there are those that are very particular to make sure that they have one knife. It's called a parav knife. They never use it for hot milchigs. They never use it for hot fleishigs. And therefore that knife remains parav. It doesn't have a halachic status of milchig or a fleishig. And that's what they use to cut the bread. And therefore you could always use that bread for either a fleishig or a milchig meal. Kasra paiskim, the halachic authorities write, Ki kol klei habayis yesh liknois mishnei sugim nifradim. Every utensil and every vessel that you have in your house, every pot, pan, knife, spoon, fork, cups, everything, you should have 2 separate sets of dishes. And they should be distinctly different in the way that they appear, so you shouldn't end up mixing them up and exchanging one for the other. Your milchig plates should look one way, your fleishig should look the other way. The pans that you use for the fleishig should look one way, and the milchig should look the other way. Otherwise, we're going to end up making mistakes in our kitchen. You won't know which is which, and you'll end up interchanging milchigs and fleishigs, and you'll end up trafing up your kitchen. Now, if you happen to have bought a pot or a pan for the milchig and the fleishig, and they look exactly the same, you have to make a charitz, you have to make some kind of a nick or some kind of an etching into the walls of the pot. You have to make some kind of a sign that this is the milchig pot and this is not the fleishig pot. So it's based upon a verse, but it speaks about over there that there's simanim, there are signs that you make for the milchigs, and specifically milchig and not the fleishig. Don't make some kind of a sign on the fleishig pot, Ki mina kol Yisrael l'samenes achalavi, because the custom of the Jewish people is we always make the signs, we always make the nicks in that pot. We put something into that pot so we should see on the dairy and the milk on the milk pots. Someone is in his house, v'yiras a Horowitz, yachshav, he sees some kind of a scratch in the pot, some kind of a nick in that pot that he knows that it's a siman. Yachshav shu chalavi, he'll believe that it is milchig. Yishtamish ba'im chalav, and he'll end up using it for milchig. Now, if you ended up being if in your house you put the sign in the Fleishig one, so someone's going to end up making a mistake and they'll end up cooking basa for chalav. So again, the best thing is have two totally separate sets of dishes, of plates, of pots, of pans, of cups, of silverware, of everything, and they should be distinctly different in the way that they look so that you do not make mistakes and switch one for the other. If for some reason, I don't know, there was a big sale on a good set of pots and you end up buying two good sets of pots and they look exactly the same, you have to make some kind of a siman, some kind of a sign, so that it's obvious that this is for the milchigs and the other one without the sign is going to be for the fleishigs. Have a wonderful day.